Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's energy healer and self-care coach, no other than Miss Tenya Eickenberg.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Tenya, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yes, I'm an energy healer and a self care coach. I help women between the ages of 40 and 65 to find the balance in their life. And I do this through clearing out energetic blocks that give them the ability to include that self-care in their lives that they're so resistant to because of all of these beliefs about spending time on ourselves that we start to harbor a lot as kids and especially women, that it's not what we are taught to do. We are not taught to take care of ourselves. We are taught to put everybody else first.
Miss Tina, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. And let's talk about self care as a frequency. How do you define self care as a frequency?
So when we start to take care of ourselves, when we start to spend time really looking at ourselves and asking, what is it that I need to thrive? What is it that I need to feel good? To get me to a point where not only am I easily able to take care of myself, but I have the energy to help those who are going to need my energy, kids, spouses, if you're a teacher, students, if you're a doctor, your patients, those kinds of things. And as we do more self care, as we get into, and I'm not talking about massages and getting your nails done and getting your hair done, I'm talking about spending time in mindfulness meditation, in journaling, in reading uplifting books that are going to bring you knowledge in how to shift your mindset from maybe that negative self talk that you're doing to being more optimistic about what's going on in your life. And when you can shift those thoughts, shift that energy, it raises your frequency. And it raises your frequency like when you go downstairs on Christmas morning and you can feel that joy and you can feel that excitement. That is the frequency that self-care can bring into your life. And when you raise your vibration, when you raise it up to a more joyful state, more things come into your life. You attract more things in your life that are a match to that frequency. And so the more time you spend on yourself, taking care of yourself, really looking at what it is that you need to fill your cup. It allows you to bring in more things to help fill your cup. And you can then, your cup is overflowing. So then you can help others to fill their cups as well.
Very well said, Miss Tina. Very well said. Beautifully articulated. Why is understanding and working with our energy fundamental to truly effective self care rather than just focusing on physical or surface level actions?
Yeah. So there's five different pillars of our energy that we need to really look at. There's our physical, our emotional, our mental, our energetic, and I lost the last one. We're going to start with those four.
Yes, go
But
ahead.
when you start to do the physical work, when you're going for walks, doing yoga, getting in some strength training, oh, nutritional was the other one. Eating correctly and really focusing on all of those different pillars of your energy, it all comes together. I tell my clients, we can't just do the conscious work. We can't just do mindset work. We can't just say, okay, I'm going to start thinking more positive and things are going to shift. it doesn't quite work that way. That's where you get that positive toxicity that comes in, is when you just kind of push the negative stuff away. You still have to deal with your emotions. You still have to deal with those negative things per se as they come in. Um, but working on an energetic side as well, and clearing away the ancestral energies that we've picked up from our parents as during conception. We get those inherited energies, we get these beliefs sent down to us from our ancestors, from our parents. And we have to question, are these really our beliefs, or are they somebody else's beliefs that we were told that we should believe? And so it's really looking at what beliefs we have, what trapped emotions that we're holding on to. And when we can clear out that energetic gunk, it makes it easier to do that conscious work. And part of that conscious work is the self care work. And a lot of women have told me they really have a hard time doing the self care work that they know they should be doing. But part of that is because we're told it isn't us that we are supposed to be taking care of. We're supposed to be making sure that everybody else is happy around us before we start taking care of ourselves. And more so in this day and age, we're learning that that is not what we should be thinking, but it doesn't change the fact that when we do spend time on ourselves, we still feel guilty. And that's where that energetic stuff comes in. That's where those epigenetic energies come in and remind us that, oh no, we're supposed to feel guilty for spending time on ourselves, because our moms felt guilty for spending time on themselves, our grandmother spent or felt guilty for spending time on themselves. And so when we can work on all of those pillars from both directions, it can really shift your energy and shift the trajectory of how you look at your life.
Miss Tenya, how does neglecting self-care actually lower our energetic frequency?
So neglecting ourselves, that can, when we don't take care of ourselves, that's when um, anxiety and depression can really start to anchor themselves into our subconscious, anchor itself into our consciousness. It's where that negative self-talk can really start to come in and say, I'm not enough. And so when we have that negative self-talk and we really start to believe it, that's when our vibration starts to lower. That's when our energy starts to deplete. And the more negative we feel, we start with the complaining. We start with, oh, woe is me, I am the victim. And it's a horrible place to sit in. I've been there. I was the victim for a very long time, and I placed blame on a lot of people. But the truth is that while nothing that ever happened to me was ever my fault, it is my responsibility to heal from it. And so
Yes.
it's a choice to stay in those lower vibrations. It's a choice to do the healing work, to raise your vibration, to bring more joy and more happiness into your life, and see just how wonderful the life is that you already have.
That's why, Miss Tenya, always or every day in the morning, I tell to myself, I'm the head, not the tail. I'm a victor, not a victim. I'll be
Absolutely.
mighty on the land. And it really helps for the whole day.
It does.
Yes. How does energy work help identify and clear subconscious energetic blocks?
So the way I do it is I use muscle testing. There are so many different energetic modalities out there that work in different ways. And I strongly suggest that if anybody is interested in learning about energy healing, that you try many different avenues to find the one that speaks to you, that you resonate with. The one that resonated with me, I started with the emotion code. And that was one of the first books that I read that really started to pull me out of where I was. I was in such deep depression and anxiety that I was able to function normally on the outside, but on the inside, I was struggling a lot. And this book, The Emotion Code, taught me how to use muscle test excuse me, how to use muscle testing and charts to find these energetic imbalances. And these energetic imbalances started with just trapped emotions, trapped anxiety, trapped depression, trapped anger, grief. Um, I was getting all of those emotions from my ancestors. It went back as far as, I think the furthest one I found was like 30 generations. And this is just like an energy ball that just sits in your energy field. But every time you felt worry, it would trigger that energy. It would make that energy vibrate. So then you would feel it much quicker. And then it moved into beliefs and physical pain and energetic toxins. And by clearing out all of that stuff within 4 months of reading this emotion code book and getting my certification, because I was going to do this myself, I was 80% healed from my anxiety and depression. And then that's when I started doing the self care and raising my vibration with doing the energy healing helped me to raise my vibration even further by doing the self care work. And the self care work is what has kept me in a state of gratitude for the life that I am already living. There are still times I feel like I'm missing something, but that's part of being human. We always want to grow, we always want to expand. And so part of that is feeling like something's missing so that we can reach out and grow and expand. And, you know, um, one of the other books that really helped me on that self care journey was The Four Agreements. And it was don't make assumptions. So don't assume that people are thinking what you think that they're thinking. Don't take things personally because you don't know what other people are going through. Their behavior towards you probably has nothing to do with you, but with whatever they have going on. The other one was be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean what you say. If you say you're going to show up for an appointment, show up for the appointment. But this also means be impeccable with your word with yourself. Be kind to yourself. And then the fourth one is always do your best. And if you do every day, if you start every day with, today I'm going to do my best. And your best is going to change from moment to moment, from day to day. But living by those four agreements and learning about muscle testing, and that is a direct connection to my subconscious. And I can use it to make decisions. I can use it to find what is going on with me without having to always sit in a quiet room and wait and listen. The muscle testing is kind of like um, just a faster way of getting to it.
Yes. Today I will be mighty on the land. How does maintaining a higher self care frequency through energy practices influence what we attract into our lives?
So, if you've ever noticed that when you stub your toe, right, you get up from bed and you stub your toe,
Yes.
and you're so mad that you stubbed your toe, right? And you go to the shower, and all of a sudden the hot water heater is out of hot water and you have to take a cold shower. Well, now you're mad that you had to take a cold shower. So then you go off to work, and all of a sudden you have a flat tire. Now you're going to be late for work. And so all of these things, because you stubbed your toe and you were like, mad, you're angry, you fell into that low vibration and you took it with you to the shower, and the shower just kept it going, right? Then you got the flat tire. That whole day you feel like is ruined because you stubbed your toe. And it's because you were sitting in that low vibration. Instead of you stub your toe and you go, oh, that hurt. There was a reason I stubbed my toe. And I know this sounds silly. It's like it's almost like people are, it's there's always a reason for something, right? Maybe you stubbed your toe so that you didn't step on a spider that was going across the floor between you and the bathroom. There's lots of, you can come up with any reason you want,
Yes.
right? But you stubbed your toe. It's not going to ruin your day, right? Then you get to the
Yes.
shower and you have a nice hot shower and you pour a nice hot cup of coffee and you get to work on time. Stubbing your toe that day did not ruin your entire day because you shifted and said, "Ugh, I stubbed my toe. That hurt. I'm not going to let it ruin my day." So that's
Yes.
how when we that energy that we feel, if we're feeling those low vibration energies, we're going to consistently pull in more low vibration energies. Same with the high vibration. You're going to have ups and downs though, but I now have more ups than I have downs. I still have down days because I'm human. I'm living this human existence and life happens. But I don't allow myself to sit in it. And I can look at it and go, what is the lesson here? What is it that I'm supposed to be feeling? What is it that I'm supposed to understand from these emotions that are coming in? Sometimes it takes longer than usual or longer than I would like. But again, there's a reason for that. And it typically doesn't last more than, I think I've had um, low vibration emotions usually only last maybe a day, but no longer than that. Whereas before I started to really look at my self care and take care of myself and look at the emotions I was having, I would have those bad days would go on for weeks. And I'm so thankful that I don't have to sit in those for weeks anymore.
Again, very well said, Miss Tenya. Very well said. And people, it happened for a reason. And Miss Tanya, as an energy healer and self care coach, what are your short term and long term goals?
My short term goal is really just to enjoy each day.
Yes.
My long term goal is to help hundreds of women to see the beauty in the life that they have already created, but to also show them that they can design whatever life it is that they want as long as they keep raising their vibration to the level in which they want to be.
Well, good luck to your goals, Miss Tanya, and let's empower women all over the world. And what will be a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a coach like you?
Oh gosh, you're worth spending your time on. I think that is the biggest thing that I can give anyone is carve out time for yourself. If you feel like you don't have time, look at how much you're on your phone, look at how much you're watching TV, even look at how much if you're an avid fitness buff and you're at the gym for 5 hours a day. Maybe you shouldn't be at the gym 5 hours a day, but you need to add in some meditation and some journaling and some reading for sure.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your advice, Miss Tanya. And as I'm looking to our next questions, how does maintaining a high self-care frequency through energy work contribute to enhance intuition, creativity, and our life force?
Yeah, so when you start taking care of yourself, when you start spending alone time with yourself, your intuition starts to increase. That inkling that you might get in your gut or in your chest that says whether you're making a right decision or a wrong decision will get bigger and bigger. You'll also start to see what we call synchronicity showing up, things that you might have thought about 10 minutes ago, and then all of a sudden it comes into your awareness. When you start to pay attention to the sensations going on in your body, you can tell immediately, is this, pardon me, is this good for me, or is this bad for me? What where do I go with this? And you'll be able to make those decisions so much quicker because you're feeling the messages that your body is sending you, instead of having to sit there and go, oh, I don't know what I should do.
Miss Tenya, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, my book 101 review in its fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and of course, my food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. And Love Letters in the third season, Movie 101 review in fourth season, as well as my Music 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Tinia, how does consciously raising our personal self-care frequency through energy work positively impact our relationships, work, and collective relationships?
Oh my gosh. That's another great one. When you start working on yourself, both energetically and on a conscious level, it's amazing how it shifts your outer world. When you start to shift your inner world, your outer world will change. My relationship with my husband got 10 times better when I started to clear the energetic baggage and really looking at taking care of myself and doing the work to bring happiness into my inner world. My outer world got so much better. A lot of my relationships shifted. I've had couples who have gone from arguing all the time to going out on weekly dates again, because they're now reconnecting, because their energy is not battling each other, because one of them has done the work, both of them benefited.
Miss Tenya Eickenberg, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy as well as your projects that you are doing right now?
Yes, I have some group healing programs that are going on, and of course, individual healings. And you can find all of that at designyourexistence.com and on my podcast, the Metamorphosis Project podcast.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Tanya Eichenberg because if you support her, more and more and more empowering episodes of the podcast itself, more and more empowering coaching to come. So, Miss Tanya, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon.